People have said to me that having a child is one of the best things in the world, and I can sort of see that. The satisfaction you must feel when you've raised a child from birth, taught it everything you know and how to survive the real world, then watching them leave to start their own life as an independent. There is, however, one problem with raising a child. You can't raise them to evolve and shoot fireballs. For me, I prefer to raise a monster and have it assert dominance over inferior scum of this planet. Yeah, get them, destroy them, show them you are the alpha. Whether it's Pokemon, Digimon, or a Gigapet, every gamer has a memory of a game where you raise a pet of some kind. Even though they are a bunch of ones and zeros, you grow an emotional connection to them. We strive to make them stronger in every way. We feel accomplished when they achieve great things, and feel so heartbroken when they die. Rest in peace, Butt Fluff. You were the best. When it comes to games, the amount that feature raising a personal pet of some kind is quite numerous. Today, however, we're going to be looking at just one. Monsterseed, all one word. A PS1 title from 1998 published by Sun Corporation. Monsterseed is a monster battling RPG where you create monsters out of ingredients, then use them to fight with you in battles as you go on an adventure to help the town that you're currently stuck in. The start of the game features an encounter, so you can learn about the battle system. First thing you will notice though are the graphics. Everyone is thick with two C's, with a chibi-like look to them. Not ugly to look at, but sometimes it can look a little silly. I am a thug and I am a floof. At the start of the encounter, our unnamed character begins one of his many self-monologues. He explains to himself that we, which I can only assume to be either a fourth wall break or a voice in his head, will arrive to the town of Lemball shortly. However, he bumps into two shady looking characters having a private discussion in the middle of a commonly travelled footpath. They then threaten you to walk away or die, but your main character must have social anxiety because now he can only say a few words at a time. What? What? Could you? Dude, I get it, some people have difficulty communicating, but your life is on the line here, could you try a little fucking harder? Failing to get a straight answer out of you, they decide to attack you, to stop you from telling anyone what you've heard. Which, by the way, was fuck all. You caught a few words, but nothing solid to go on. There are no tutorials, so you've got to figure out what to do by yourself or read the instruction book. But here's the basic rundown on fights. Every encounter starts with either you or your opponent attacking first. On your turn, you have 9 action points. You can use them to perform various maneuvers in the fight. Before that though, you need to decide if you're going to move or not. Each square you move costs 1 point of movement. The pointing hand shows which way you will face when you stop moving. You can also turn on the spot, which costs 1 point. Once you decide where you want to move to and which way you'll be facing, you then decide what you want to do when you get there. Attack lets you perform any attack you know. Standby ends your turn. Call is how you would summon a monster. Directions are orders you give to your monsters. Recovery shows you your healing items. Items lets you see your, items. Status lets you check your stats, and map lets you see the map of the field and where enemies and allies are. In this first fight, you're outnumbered 3-1, and are very likely to die. You can win if you get lucky with the damage, but don't expect to. So far, our main character has demonstrated 3 things. He talks to himself as if there is at least 2 people, he's crap at talking to others, and is shit at fighting. What's the best way to motivate someone to play your game? Make your player a useless little fuckwit. Win or lose the fight, you wake up later in the house of 2 strangers who introduce themselves as Cal and Wolf. Your character then reveals himself to be Daniel. They question you about being a ruler, a person who fights with monsters. You say you are a ruler, but you sold your last monster in order to make it to this town. Cal suggests going to the town chief to get a job. You agree, and leave to get a job. Controlling your character is very simple. You use the directional buttons to move in a grid-like fashion and X to examine the environment. The unusual thing though is that to access your items and stats, you need to click the right stick in. An odd choice, but still simple controls. As soon as you leave the house, you're attacked by, are you ready for this? A pink rabbit and a platypus. The monsters went from xenomorph to cuddly toys in the blink of an eye. They attack you, but they don't tell you why, but you are more than powerful enough to take them down. Before a character attacks, they spout out a one-liner. If the attack lands, the victim responds with a comment of their own. It does add some personality to the people in the fight, but it won't be long before you read everything they have to say. Although there is some dialogue that makes me feel like a terrible person. don't actually kill them though, as they run away once you win the fight. Carrying on, we reach the town square and talk to the chief about getting a job. We're about 10 minutes or so into the game, and there's been a lot of dialogue so far. The game does feel slow and a little boring at the start, to be honest, and it doesn't help that all the dialogue is very amateurly written. Dialogue from characters is sometimes unnecessary, dull, or doesn't help the conversation along, dragging them out longer than they need to be. To summarise it, the quality matches a story you would have written back in high school for your English lessons. Or like one of my scripts. The chief says he has a job for you, but wants you to prove you're a capable ruler by defeating all the low-ranked fighters in the arena. We need monsters to do it, so the chief gives us components to create our first 4 monsters. Then, you get access to the overworld. Unlike other RPGs where you freely explore the world, you get a choice of locations to choose from. There isn't an indicator of where you can go other than cycling through them all to see what's available. Wouldn't it have been easier to just put dots or something? All the starting areas are pretty small areas, and empty too. No items to find lying around, and anything you can interact with offers nothing valuable in any case. And it's disappointing because it kills the desire to explore. But, now to the fun part, hatching monsters. You only need 2 things to make a monster: a hatching machine, which the monster merchant has, and a seed. So first, you need to select a seed. Pressing circle on a seed will tell you what kind of creature you will get, how likely it is to hatch, and what kind of reject it will make under certain conditions. A reject is a weak monster that is virtually useless and best sold or used as cannon fodder in fights. Your monsters and you don't level up, so you need to figure out how to make stronger monsters to stay ahead of the game. Once you choose your seed, you may choose a solution to add by pressing square, which will increase certain stats of the monster. You can check what the solution does by pressing circle. Finally, choose the temperature, using the information about the seed to avoid creating a reject, then watch your creation come to life. It's alive! Ha 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 ha! And it's ugly. Once your monster hatches, information relating to its name, features, personality, how fast you can summon it, elemental power, and attacks are shown. The only thing left to do is name your new slave, pet. You can change it later if you want from the status screen, even your own name if you want. You're going to be spending a lot of time here like some sort of mad scientist, experimenting with almost limitless possibilities to create all abominations of nature. Best of all, hatching machine is completely free, so go fucking nuts. With your monsters assembled, it's time to give them a test run. To the arena! The arena has several fighters ranking from E the worst to A the best. Your objective is to defeat all 3 of the rankees. Again, no tutorial, so here is some more information about fighting with monsters. The battles consist of 2 teams, a max of 4 for each team. To win, you have to defeat every opponent on the field, which can be done by killing them one by one, or eliminating the enemy ruler to kill all the monsters that ruler summoned. To add monsters to your team, you first have to call them, where they first appear like this thing? Is that a magic fetus? It costs 1 point to summon them, so you could summon your entire team in 1 turn if you wanted to. If you try to summon more than 3, it will disappear on its turn and go back into your inventory. How quickly they emerge from the thing is different for every monster. They will take form once a certain number of turns have passed. You then have to set their behaviour for the fight, which you can change later with the directions command. Important to note the features of your monster though, because it will tell you the best behaviour to set. I'm not sure what all of these behaviours mean. From what I could tell though, attack is self-explanatory. Defense makes them focus on protecting themselves. Suicide, I think, makes them try and attract enemies' attention. Assistance will make the monster assist the player in some fashion, whether it's aiding in attacking or healing you, and return summons them to your pocket. Best to use that though when you want to keep a monster alive, because if any of your monsters go down, they are dead and gone for good. No second chances. While I do enjoy the fights, I am disappointed you don't get to control the monsters yourself and have to leave them to their own devices. I'd feel it would be a lot more tactical and fun if you could. After you win a fight, you collect the spoils of war. Personally, I always got excited when I got new seeds as solutions. So after we murder some casual fighters in the arena, we return to the chief and he gives us a job. A merchant with a new type of monster seed has been kidnapped and being held prisoner in a fort north of the town. Your job is to go and save them. Your character agrees and the chief gives you some payment now to prepare you. Ooh, more seeds! Let's do the thing! I got a Metroid! Oh, Nintendo gonna sue somebody? Make sure you, as in you the player, make note of what you need to do next in your quest, as the game doesn't have a journal or a diary of any kind, so if you play this game and leave it for a bit, chances are you'll forget what you need to do. Right now though, we need to go raid a fort, so let's buy some supplies from the shop, save the game at the inn, then we're on our way. Guess what though? The fortress is just as empty as the rest of the world. Nothing to find, no secrets, no items lying around, no lore. Why have an examine button if there is fuck all to examine? At least the music's relaxing. While some of the music does sound good, from a design perspective it is a little amateurly done. But in the sense that it sometimes doesn't fit the environment. The fight music works, it's quick and has a sense of action to it. The town music gives the impression that the town is welcoming and safe. And the music that's used at the hatching machine has a sense of mystery to it. So, what music do they use for the enemy fort, where danger could be around any corner? Music that makes it sound just as safe as the town. I know this might seem like a nitpick to some of you at home, but to me this is annoying because the atmosphere is an important element in any scene, and by doing it incorrectly you can ruin it so easily. I would show you what else is in the fort, unfortunately this is where my 1 hour playtime ends. So I know I haven't said much, but it's because there's not much to Monsterseed, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Monsterseed isn't a bad game. Sure, it's got a slow start and there are some game elements that are missing or need some work, but the elements it does have are enough to keep you invested. Experimenting with the seeds to see what monster you get always is entertaining, and watching your team dominate through careful planning and studying of your monsters and enemies is extremely satisfying. If fighting is all you want to do though, there is a versus mode where if you happen to have 2 memory cards, you can compare your monsters to your friend monsters in a battle to the death. So, now you've heard of it, would you play it? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching everyone, and remember, you're always welcome at the Spectrum.